Right, my name is Robert Safran. I'm the Executive Director of the Jewish Entrepreneur. We're a free mentoring service. And I want to introduce, we are one of the sponsoring organizations, and I also want to thank our title sponsor, basically for support for these sessions. The speaker is Jennifer Glass. Jennifer's talk is on Amp Up Your Business with eCommerce, 7 strategies to grow your business even during COVID-19. Jennifer is the CEO of Business Growth Strategies International, otherwise known as BGSI. They're formerly Credit Cards of New Jersey. They have a number of divisions: BGSI Payments, BGSI Coaching, BGSI Academy and Marketing, and basically a CCNJ host. They provide a robust and best-in-class solution for business owners looking to grow their business and also their revenues. Jennifer also happens to be a new mentor for the Jewish Entrepreneur. And we appreciate her time and her service and her commitment to that. She's also a well-known author, has written a number of books. And as you'll see basically in the presentation on the first slide, she's also been featured in many different periodicals, many of which basically are national, both on the media side in terms of print and the media side in terms of television and other media. So I want to welcome Jennifer and thank her for her time and look forward to her presentation. And I will turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Robert. Thank you so much to JBW Global and all the organizations that are sponsoring today's program. And I'm thrilled that all of you are here today to check out how to amp up your business with e-commerce and get the 7 strategies to grow your business even during COVID-19. Now, what I want to ask all of you first, though, is of those of you that are currently on the program, how many of you are currently selling online? And if you guys can just quickly respond, that would be great. Okay, I don't know if I'm actually going to be getting a response, so we'll move forward from here. Do me a favor, though, if you are currently in a e-commerce business and you are currently selling online, because I don't know if the poll is working, if you could just type the number 1 into the chat, that way I know that everything is working, everyone is on, and we can get started, that you can all hear me and everything else. Okay, we are going to get started. Thank you so much, Margarita. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming on board again today. Again, my name is Jennifer Glass with Business Growth Strategies International, and we are here to amp up your business with e-commerce. So, by the way, first, before we get started, if everybody can, there's a link right here that you can go ahead, get the action guide for today's program. It's going to give you a lot of additional information. It's a quick document that has a couple of questions for you just to kind of take a look at, and allows you to really look at what it is that we're going to be covering and how you can really get that implemented in terms of your business as we move forward. So let's talk about what we're going to be covering today. We're going to cover how I went from making $8 an hour to helping business owners make millions in their businesses and now have my own financial freedom. We're going to be covering the 7 strategies you can use right now to grow your business using e-commerce and takeaways from the programs. So let's talk about the first thing I said we're going to cover, how I went from making $8 an hour to helping business owners make millions in their businesses and now have my own financial freedom. So for those of you that are in the New Jersey area, you may recognize this Chinese restaurant, Kosher Express. I worked here many, many years ago, and I was making a whopping $8 an hour while I was working at this restaurant. And I don't know about you, but an $8 an hour, nobody can really survive in terms of what we're trying to do with having the financial freedom and the lifestyle and everything else that we're trying to do. So I said, I got to figure out what I'm going to do. And I ended up going to work for a company called Netphone, which was a company that was involved in the voice over internet telephony business. For those of you that may have heard it from many, many years ago, That was one of the first voice over internet companies before Optimum, Fios, and all of those guys started offering the phone service themselves. And I was one of the first 15 people in the company. It was a great opportunity in terms of what I was doing there. But from where I was during that time, I was, yes, Robert, it was part of IDT. And in terms of where I was at the time, it was an incredible opportunity because I learned the internet business really from the ground up. I learned the e-commerce side of things because we were selling accounts. I learned the sales and marketing side because I was working with major exclusive resellers, and I got an $8 million contract out of China, which was an incredible opportunity to get an $8 million sale of $25, $50, $100 accounts when I sold it into China. So there were a lot of opportunities that I got there, but the problem was that it was still too confusing. And while I am way too vain for this to be a picture of me pulling my hair, the problem is that at a certain point, when you're looking at what it is you're doing in your business and you're trying to figure out e-commerce, you're trying to figure out how to make money online, there are so many questions, so many confusing issues that you really don't know what's happening, how it works, and all of those other areas. It just really comes down to those questions of how do I continue to move forward from here? And so it really came down to where do I move forward from here? And we're going to get into that in a few moments. But just really quickly, a little more about me to add to what Robert already said. I am the CEO of Business Growth Strategies International. We're a business growth coaching, payment processing, and marketing services agency. I'm an ambassador and the official presenter for the Small Business Development Center, which is a national organization with roughly about 1,000 centers across the United States, services hundreds of thousands of small business and entrepreneurs across the United States on a yearly basis. I have speaker bureau membership with SCORE, several top global accounting firms, banks, and more. And I'm also a 3-time top college speaker. And as you saw, and as Robert pointed out, I've also been featured in a number of different publications on print media as well as on national broadcast media as well. So one of the other things, though, that I was lucky to happen to me is ABC Secret Millionaire, James Malinchak. For those of you that remember the show ABC Secret Millionaire, James asked me to contribute to his book, Reach Your Greatness. And I was very lucky that I was in a position to do that. And then I also have It's the Bottom Line That Matters, quick tips and strategies you can use right now to grow your business in the next 12 months, which is available anywhere that you buy books online. So let's go now to the second thing I said we were going to tell you, this how to use the 7 strategies you can use right now to grow your business using e-commerce. And before we get to that, though, one thing that is really important is because when we're talking about e-commerce, we need to actually understand what it means. And according to Merriam-Webster, e-commerce is commerce conducted via the internet, which seems pretty simple, but it is right there. Okay, I apologize for that. I was getting a flash on my screen. The other thing that's important, though, for us to be paying attention to is m-commerce, because today people are conducting business using mobile devices, using your cell phone to make purchases as well. So it's not just using your desktop computer. It is also using a mobile device, tablet, whatever it is, to make those purchases. So m-commerce is business transactions conducted by using a mobile electronic device such as a cell phone. Pretty simple, right? So let's go look at the first strategy here, web aspects of concern. And the first one is traffic. Now, a lot of you that are currently in business, already selling online, this may seem pretty simple to you. I just need to drive traffic. But here's the problem. There's a whole lot of traffic that can be coming from multiple sources. You can be having traffic coming from ads that may or may not be working. You can be driving people that really don't make sense to be coming to your site to be buying something from you because it may not make sense. You can have a lot of different marketing tactics that you're using to drive traffic, but one of the ones that you really want to focus on to get started is SEO, search engine optimization, for those of you that are familiar with what is used in web lingo out there today. So what do I mean by SEO? One of the things that you want to first of all start seeing is what is going to be showing up on Google and what is going to show up on the browser tab. Like if you see right now on the top of this program, it says Excel events in the browser tab. If you see on the screen in the example that we have, it says men's leather wallets MCM. because that is the name of the company and that's the product that they're trying to sell. And you see all of the specific things that they have. Now, how do you get that? That's something that is done behind the scenes in terms of the back end, whether you're using WordPress or using another platform. Those are all areas that we're talking about in terms of getting started. So here's an example, though, of how we're starting to create things. And we're looking at the Yoast SEO plugin as an example in terms of what we're doing. And Yoast is, they have a free version and a premium version that you can get to plug into your site, which works with WordPress, that you can start immediately connecting into your site. And it works with WooCommerce and other shopping platforms as well, so that you can have that work alongside with what you're doing. But you see the SEO title, Buy V-neck T-shirts by Demo Inc. with free shipping, it is matching the information that is going to show up on Google. Right? Again, the description, same thing. What is that line that's going to happen right underneath? Looking for authentic V-neck T-shirts by Demo, buy 100% pure cotton V-neck T-shirts, all at discounted prices and shipping, right? These are the things, those are some of the ways that you're starting to look at the information. So when we look again at a Google search engine result page, the SERPs that are out there, this is what we're talking about. It is seeing that SEO title that we created in that last screen, along with the description that's coming in about want to discover the best wallets or the best T-shirts or the best whatever it is. That is the information somebody's going to be seeing. And when you are using SEO to your benefit, you're starting to get those additional values in terms of people coming to you and Google knowing this makes sense in terms of us getting started. So here's an example, though, of something else that you want to be doing when you're talking about an individual T-shirt. Again, looking at that alt text. And alt text, by the way, is important for those of you that are looking at accessibility and you don't want to be sued in terms of accessibility issues by the Americans with Disabilities Act. There's a number of suits currently pending for larger firms, not to scare anyone, but those are some things that you want to be paying attention to. So the alt text is something that is read by screen readers that allow that information to be read to visually impaired individuals for that. But it's also important because Google now knows, and the other search engines, this is the important area in terms of what the image is, because they don't know what an image is, but they do know what the alt text is. They do know what the name of the file is for the shirt, but they don't know anything else. So that's important in terms of where we go from there. So the other thing that you can do, though, is also you can categorize your items into accessories, hoodies, shirts, etc., and you can start building out breadcrumbs, which helps, again, the way that the search engines look at what you're doing on your site, which is going to further drive traffic to your company. Again, looking at the title, looking at the category, looking at the slugs, which is, again, the category that we're in. Those are important areas that we're looking at here in terms of where we are, so that you have all that information. So let's look at, again, another one that we were briefly touching on in terms of paid ads. So how many of you have seen ads like this on Facebook? Right? A lot of you are out there on Facebook, or there's Google ads. There's so many different ads that are out there, and they're targeting you based on some sort of reason why you're there, whether it's geo-targeted, meaning I want to target someone just in a specific area. So if you're in the Bergen County, New Jersey area, which is where I happen to be located, I can immediately start tagging everybody within that region on my ads. If I'm going to be doing an event, I can push that out. If I am selling something that is local, for instance, I am selling New York Mets, New York Yankees sportswear. Even though baseball may not be happening this season, people may still want to buy those goods. So I can push that out to the New York greater area. But if I'm going to be going to California, I'm going to be doing California teams. I don't need to sell the same thing in the same place. So those are some of the ways you can drive messages home. But one thing that you do want to make sure of is you know exactly to whom you're actually marketing, because that is one of the quickest ways that you can get lost. But here's something, though, that really is important, because we're talking about marketing. So marketing is really made up of an entire slew of areas. And if you see on the very top right corner, it says Facebook, right? In that tiny little box up top, it says Facebook. Everything else here is all involved in marketing, and it really starts to get really confusing for a lot of people. But let's not get bogged down by that for now. Just keep in mind, you have to have a clear idea of who you're going after, how you're going to do it, and we can certainly touch base afterwards with any additional questions or what have you. So again, here, what are we talking about with this, with paid ads? Think that you are out on the savannah in Africa, right? Those little blue dots on this image illustrate the gazelles, illustrate the zebras, illustrate the elephants, and the yellow dot illustrates the lion, right? You have the herd that is going to be following the herd when they're going to be running. And then you have the lion who's going to be chasing you. How many of you want to be the lion? Type a 1 in the chat if you want to be the lion and not the herd that's going to be eating your competition alive. So what we're looking at here are ways that you are not going to get swallowed up when you are involved in terms of where you are in your marketing, in your paid ads, because we don't want you to waste money on ads that are seriously not going to work. Thank you, Robert and Yitzi. So moving on from here, now we though have to look at avatars, which is what I was saying in terms of looking at who we're marketing to. How many of you know what an avatar is? And I'm not referring to James Cameron's Blue People. Let me know if you know. Thank you, Margarita, for the lion. The avatar is a representation of your ideal client, right? What I mean by that is, let's look at this graphic really quick. We have Jane and Michael on the screen. And for those of you that know Mary Poppins, I just happen to come up with the names because, I don't know, it just hit. So you have Jane on the left, who is in B2B, and you have Michael, who's a more childish parent who's always looking to buy stuff for his kids. So Jane on the left is looking for stuff for her business, and Michael is looking for stuff for his kids. Now, if you're going out there and you are putting an ad that is going to be targeting Jane, but it's designed for Michael for kids, maybe Jane has kids, but she's looking for stuff for business. She's not interested in the areas that you're looking in terms of what Robert is looking at, or what Michael is looking at, sorry. So those are the things that you want to keep in mind in terms of the way that you design the ads, that you're not going to be wasting money and time on those ads. So next thing is retargeting and remarketing. Now, here's an interesting question, and I'll illustrate what I mean by retargeting, remarketing by asking you or telling you the story. So a while back, my mom was telling me that she was getting ads for a certain shoe company because my dad was looking for a new brand of shoes. And what happened was that because their IP was tagged by this company who was selling the shoes, they started getting the ads on all of their devices for these particular shoes. And it's no surprise because as soon as you went to that site, they immediately put their pixel on the site and they started getting the ability to retarget you. They were able to remarket you. What do I mean by that? If you have somebody who comes to your site and doesn't buy, if you have a Facebook pixel, you have the Google pixel, you have whatever pixel is on your site, you can now go after them on any other network that is using that same pixel and start trying to bring them back. So that's a way that we use retargeting and remarketing. Another area that we want to look at is reviews. And what do I mean by reviews? Reviews here is everything from Facebook, Google, etc., Yelp, and things along those lines. Now here happens to be the Staples Facebook review. I just took a snippet of their review recently when I was putting these slides together. And this is what we have in terms of what Staples has. It's not exactly a great rating at 2.7, but out of almost 200 people are going to have negative things to say. People are going to have positive things to say. Now, of course, there's other companies that have in the millions of reviews. You don't want to do anything with fake reviews, though, because it's ultimately going to come back. But one key statistic you do want to know, though, 83% of buyers buy based on your review, based on reviews. Like if you go to a site and it says 10,000 people gave it a 5-star review, you're probably going to go to that instead of the one that only has 3, right? Those are going to be areas that you're going to be looking at in terms of where we are. And again, there's Yelp, Google, a whole bunch of different reviews that are out there. So let's look though at also social proof. And what do I mean by social proof? For those of you that have gone to websites and on this site, you see something like this where it says Justin from South Riding, Virginia just signed up for whatever. This is something that is going to help show other people are buying from me, and that is going to allow people to feel more comfortable wanting to buy from you because they see other people are buying. And if you implement these plugins on your site, it's a way that you can start increasing the value and what you're doing in terms of your business. And then the other thing also is trust badges. These are examples of trust badges. You see Triple B, you see Trusty, you see a whole bunch of different companies here that have these badges. People are really comfortable when they see these badges on your site because it helps them feel relaxed. It gives them more comfort knowing that you are a real business. You're not some fly-by-night entity that may be looking to steal their money and not actually deliver, especially with so many things coming from overseas during the pandemic and they're fake or whatever it is. That's something that you want to add to your e-commerce site to help make it better for your overall business. The next thing that we want to talk about is live chat. For those of you that don't know what live chat is, here's an example from a business called Intercom. And Intercom happens to run one of the larger, well-known live chat platforms. But there's a lot of platforms out there that an operator can certainly be available. But you also have a bot that is first level to respond to certain questions that you can immediately start populating with answers like, how do I know if this is the right fit? How do I know if this is the right program? How do I know if this is the right whatever it is? These are things that you can do on your site. And when you have that live chat option that people can interact with you, it starts making it bigger. So it doesn't matter if you're a one-person business or you've got 1,000 people or 1,000,000 people working for your business. At the end of the day, that live chat is going to allow people to feel more comfortable working with you. So next thing is benefits, not features. Now, how many of you have been on a program where they start talking about module 1, module 2, module 3. It's got a whole bunch of different modules. And at the end of the day, you're not really sure what you're getting from all these modules. If you've been on a program like that, type modules into the chat. Okay, so I don't know how many of you have been on those programs, but I know I certainly have been, whether it's webcast or other programs. Thank you, Yitzi. A whole bunch of people are constantly out there and they're saying a bunch of different modules, but the problem is they're not telling me what I can get from it. Here's an example, though, of what I mean in terms of benefits, not features. So if you look on the left-hand side, it says features. Like if we're selling a cup, it says triple wall vacuum insulated construction. What does that mean? It means to me, it keeps my beverages cold for up to 24 hours or hot for up to 12. Now, if it's during the summer and you want cold drinks, you want to know it's going to keep the drink cold for up to 24 hours. A company like Yeti really translates that really well because they say they keep their drinks cold for 24 hours or hot for up to 12 hours. They're not telling you the triple wall vacuum insulated construction, stainless steel, blah, 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 because it means nothing to you. As one of my coaches said at the end of the day, don't tell me about the spark plugs. Tell me I look cool and I can go fast. That's what's important here. It's not the rest of those areas that we get involved in and we get bogged down by way too often because consumers are not interested in the features. They're interested in the benefits of getting your product. So keep that in mind when you're writing your copy in terms of what you're doing. Let's now talk about personalizing content. Now, how many of you buy from Amazon? A lot of people buy from Amazon and companies just like Amazon that have personalized recommendations recommended for you based on purchases you own or things that you purchased from them. It's because of these types of programs, they can increase their sales. That's a major strategy you want to be looking at in terms of the overall process with the sale. The more you can get out there, the more that you can work with. And there's a lot of different plugins you can use to add these recommendations. And it works with cookies. It works with these plugins. that will allow that personalization in terms of what's there. Moving on, virtual reality and augmented reality. We all know those glasses that go on your thank you, Chaya. We all know those glasses that go on your head that we've seen people walking around with, the virtual reality. But here, what I'm talking about is this is an ad from Wayfair, where if you see in front of the chair where that person is holding the camera, where the woman is holding the camera, you see a table. Augmented reality is designed to allow you to see how things are going to look in the space. So if you are selling tables, you're selling furniture in general, you're selling clothes, having that augmented reality is going to allow people to see themselves wearing your clothes, having your furniture, having your items wherever they are. So if it's on your desk, if it's in your living room, wherever it is, having these available is going to help. And there's a lot of different solutions that you can immediately start adding into your business to allow you to grow and start getting even more sales. Because if I can see it, I'm going to be more likely to want to buy it, right? I don't want to buy something only to find out it clashes with the rest of my room, or it doesn't look right, or it's going to be too big, things along those lines. It works very well in terms of getting us moving forward. So next is guest checkout options. Why are guest checkout options so important? Because you want to make sure that you give people an ability to move as fast as possible throughout the process. You don't want to hold anybody up. You see Crate and Barrel here uses a continue as guest. I don't have to create an account if I don't want to. I just have to put in my credit card information and check out as fast as possible, because maybe I don't want to get emails out the wazoo from the merchant in terms of something that's there. The other thing that you want to look at also is the PayPal checkout, the MasterPass, the Amex Express checkout, these option, one-click checkouts like the Amazon click, right? We all know the buy now with one click. We know add to PayPal, Apple Pay, Google Pay, things along those lines. These are all valuable one-click options in terms of what you have. The other thing to keep in mind also is on your payment form, get rid of every piece of information you don't absolutely need to process the transaction, right? So if you don't need their company name because you're not shipping to a company, don't ask for it. If you don't need a lot of additional information, don't ask for it unless you're a B2B merchant. I'll explain why a little bit later in the presentation, but you want to be careful looking at what it is you're actually collecting, because the more things you're putting into your order form, you're just adding even more in terms of the overall hurdle somebody has to jump through to buy from you. And you got to make it super easy for them to want to buy from you. So the abandoned cart sequence is another major thing that you want to be looking at in terms of your program. How many of you have gotten an email that looks something like this, where it allows you to go right back into your shopping cart because you abandoned the cart? Sometimes it comes with a % off offer. Sometimes it comes with different programs. There's all of these different offers because at the end of the day, you want to make sure somebody is still going to complete the sale, right? In the last thing we talked about, the one-click checkout, you can still have the option of getting an email address before you go to that checkout. So that way, if they do abandon their cart, you can still get this out. You can put up things to get different offers, and that'll be another strategy we'll talk about shortly. But those are ways that you can really incentivize people to continue shopping with you and making the money. So the next thing is on the marketing is cross-selling. Again, what do I mean by that? If you just bought this liquor cart from Amazon, the wine and alcoholic mixing set is another option that you can additionally get. And Amazon is great at this. There's a lot of businesses that are absolutely incredible in terms of adding those programs in terms of what you're actually getting on your sales. So when you give them the ability to see, oh yeah, you know what, this works with it too, it makes so much of a difference and it increases your sales tremendously. The next thing is upselling. And what do I mean by this? For those of you that have an Apple, if you may have bought it online and you go through their funnel, you finished saying how you want to buy it, and then they immediately ask, do you want to now get the Apple Care Plus coverage as well, right? That is an upsell. think about, and I know it's funny, I'm talking on a Jewish related program here about McDonald's, but think about the old line that we all know. Do you want fries with that? That is the cross-selling. The upselling is, would you like to supersize your order? Those are ideas that you see in terms of how it's actually put into place in terms of those businesses. And it's something you can easily do as part of your process. Do you want to get the warranty on your program? That's an upsell. Do you want to get the 20-inch instead of the 18-inch item of whatever it is? Those are ways that you can increase your overall ticket sale, which is going to increase your bottom line. Next is strategy number 2 is shipping. In the age of Amazon Prime that we are in right now, this becomes extremely important because we're so used to getting shipping for free. You want to have people not want to buy from someone else just because shipping is going to be a deterrent. A lot of places, and I know a lot of people, as an example, there was recently a situation where I was making a purchase and I needed to add $6 more to my cart in order to avoid having to pay $11 for shipping. Well, it came down to a no-brainer. I added $6 more into my cart of another item, and I got free shipping because I met that minimum $39 level for me to get that purchase. And it allows you to increase the size of the cart. You can still offer free shipping, just have a minimum, whether it's $29, $39, not $10, whatever it is that is going to work with your margins. Offer that and use it to your advantage. Make sure that you're not leaving that on the table because you don't want anything that is going to be causing any kind of reason for somebody not to buy from you. Thank you so much, Robert. So as we move on now into the third strategy, cost containment, and this is where I was talking about B2B merchants and what we need to collect. By the way, for those of you that are currently selling online, are you selling to businesses? Are you selling to consumers? Or are you selling to a mix of both? So I think that there's a lag. So if you're typing anything into the chat, just put it through and I'll see it. But the idea of the business to business is extremely important because what happens when you are selling online business to business, if you don't already know that you are selling business to business and collecting information for what is called level 2, you can save as much as half of 1%, 50 basis points on your overall transaction. Now, this is a really big kept secret by a lot of people in the credit card processing business because they don't want you to know this because they make more money on your transaction. But by the way, full disclosure, I also sell credit card processing services. I'm telling you though, what you can do to save money because it's in your best interest, right? We're all in this together. Everybody needs to be doing more so that we can keep going. So where do we go from here in terms of the business to business? If you collect specific fields, the sales tax amount, customer code, business tax ID, things along those lines, that's all areas that you are going to be getting more benefit in terms of the overall rate that you pay. So you see the different things that you need to be getting, the required fields to collect that benefits. So for those of you that are selling B2B, you want to be collecting this information on your order form because it is going to save you money. For those of you that are only selling to consumers, you don't need all of this there because it doesn't make a lot of sense. And a lot of this also can be passed through in hidden fields, meaning the tax ID and the order, order number, the customer code, things along those lines, your tax ID, that can be passed in a hidden field. It does not have to be something your customer actually ever sees in terms of what's there. Just make sure it's unique information for the transaction because that's what's going to allow you to save that money. And the compatible gateways, authorized.net, NMI, things along those lines, there's a lot of different fields. A lot of companies rather that offer it, just make sure that you know what is available and if your processor will allow you to pass through the various transactions that will allow you to get the savings. So let's look at the fourth strategy, and that is using hotspot videos. Our company, BGSI Marketing, is one of the companies that offers this solution, but this is really important. So let's watch this video. And as we're going through the video, if you're seeing these hexagonal shapes coming up and the add to cart option, how incredible is that? Think about what it is you're offering in your business. What is it that you are selling? If you can possibly sell something using video, because we know video sells tremendously better than any other platform out there, you can start getting people to directly buy from you as they are seeing the item. You can immediately have it add to the shopping cart and immediately finalize that transaction. It works really well if you guys are using Shopify shopping carts as an example to make that process work, where the exact SKU, like we're looking here at the sandals on the screen and the add to cart, you just click the add to cart, you immediately get that to go through, it adds it into the shopping cart, and you can check out right from there, which makes the process so much quicker and easier to get the sale. Again, thinking back at that augmented reality, I can see how it looks, I can see the shoes, I can see what it is I'm getting in a much different kind of setup. So if you sell through video already, consider doing something like this in your business as well. Next strategy is kiosk and apps. And the first thing is, again, the avatars. Think about Mary, Jane, and Michael, like we spoke about, and how they're going to be using the programs. So if you guys seen these order here programs in stores, this is something that a lot of businesses are putting in, where you can immediately start to order in store if they don't have an item. Or during the pandemic, a lot of us got used to buying on an app with curbside pickup options, things along those lines. And this is just an example of some of the things that are out there that you can immediately start putting in your business. And it doesn't have to be something that you create the app. There are plenty of companies out there that create these apps, and many will tie it into your merchant account as well, so that you don't have to go through those third parties like Grubhub or Uber Eats, things like that. If you're looking at selling food, or if you're selling retail, you can still have that as well. And you don't need to have other delivery services in terms of getting that stuff out there. This sixth strategy, email marketing, lead magnets and attraction marketing devices. Take your pick how you want to call it. These are things like we're giving you $25 off your first order. Just enter your email here. Again, if you remember what we said about the abandoned cart, this is why this is important, because I can collect that email in case you don't complete the purchase, because I already know your email and I'm tracking the process through the entire time. So I know who you are if you didn't complete the process, because I'm giving you that $25 off your first purchase. There's a lot of ways that you can use this to your benefit without having to give away the entire shop. The other thing is giveaways. And this is an example of the Art Bundle for Good contest. This is incredible. Again, it gives me the email address, but it allows me to also have people share it on Facebook, on Twitter, on social, all different platforms in terms of getting it in there. And it gives me the opportunity for me to have it all in a way that I continually get more social proof, because you are selling for me. It's no longer me selling directly. It's now you selling to your friends, because you now posted on Facebook that you just entered this program for the Art Bundle for Good program. And now that art business that's out there is starting to get the additional sales. So think about how you can use that in your business as well, and the kind of increases that you can start seeing in terms of where you are with your business too. Next is social hashtags. In terms of social hashtags, Amazon did this. Reply to this tweet with Amazon cart to add this memory card to your cart right away. And you immediately were able to get that simply by sharing these pieces. It's amazing what you can do with these different types of programs to start getting all of that added in to your business. And there's tons of companies that can help you get this put into play in terms of adding it to your business as well. So next thing is, remember, more promotions, incentives, etc., to continue growing your list and getting people to buy. That is the name of the game. We all want people buying from us. We don't want them leaving and going somewhere else in terms of where we are. The seventh strategy is the omni-channel marketing strategy. What do I mean by that? First thing here that we need to take into account, though, is the customer and buyer journey. For those of you that are not familiar with what I mean by that, let's look at it from this perspective. If I have a business and I have an accounting software that may only go up to 100 people, and I have 101 people in my business, I know I have a problem, but I don't know how to voice that problem. I start figuring out on search engines, I need a accounting system that can add to what I already have because I need that 101 plus system. Now I start researching what it is. I have a defined program. Now I know how to actually keep moving forward. And that buyer journey becomes something like this, where it's going through a whole bunch of different areas trying to figure out where we are. But what we don't want is, we don't want everybody going through different channels like that. We want everyone going through a single form. You see that screen with the big right dot, that's the user. They can see everything all around in terms of where we are, and they can start getting those programs moving forward in terms of moving from here. The omnichannel marketing also allows for many more platforms for you to be selling on, whether it's your own site, it's Amazon, it's eBay, it's Overstock, it's Walmart, it's Groupon, many more options in terms of what's there. Let me give you an example though of what I mean by all of this. And this comes to a video camera. I do a lot of speaking across the country and I record my presentations. And I needed to buy a video camera though for me to take on the road, because phones do great, but they don't do everything. And if you have a bulky camera, it's kind of difficult to get, on a plane and ship it to where you're actually going to be speaking. So I went on Groupon and I started looking for a camera, this video camera. I saw there's a camera there with an entire bundle, which Groupon is known for, and they were there. But what I say, you know what, let me just see whether or not there's another option like this. So I looked up the exact model. I highlighted it, did a quick search Google for, and it came up with the actual merchant that was selling on Groupon, and they happen to be selling it for $20 less, for $420 instead of $440 on Groupon. So they were in a position to still make money from their own site as well as Groupon, because they were selling through all of these channels. They were also selling on Amazon. They were also selling on Jet, which is part of Walmart. They were also selling on Overstock. They were also selling on eBay. That is the multi-channel, the omni-channel marketing strategy that you want to be looking at when you're selling online, because simply selling on your website, you may not be getting the kind of traffic that you want to be coming into you. So look at the other platforms that you can utilize to take advantage of all of those solutions so you can really start growing your business. The next thing is, let's look at some bonus strategies though. Now that you're ready to sell online, where can you find some amazing ideas of what to sell? So the answer is, check out the Shopify blog, and I have the URL here for you all in terms of some ideas that are constantly being updated based on what is selling well from their merchants that they have, what that they're selling successfully. Here's an example of what is currently trending according to Shopify on that blog. Everything from pet beds to mesh shoes. These are things that people are selling right now that are selling really well. So if you don't know what to sell online, if you're simply starting out from scratch and you want to start selling something and you don't know what, here's an idea of some things you can immediately start looking for. And then there's other ways you can look for things you can get involved in drop shipping these programs and not having to hold inventory. And that is a great business opportunity for you if you're looking at first getting into e-commerce and getting started, but you don't know where to start. Next thing, how do you convert your business to now sell online? So the first thing you need to do is figure out exactly how your customers are going to be buying from you. If they're going to be buying from you in a position like they're currently doing right now, where they're already buying from you online, great. If you don't currently have an online business, this is really where it comes down, and we need to talk about it because you're going to be starting from scratch. If you're starting from scratch, check with your payment processor, find out what additional things you're going to need, what additional options, what additional information are they going to need from you so that you can start selling online. You're going to need, though, a domain name and your SSL certificate, which is at HTTPS. And you're going to need a web developer unless you can do it on your own, but I'd strongly recommend working with a developer. You're going to need a virtual terminal and a gateway, like I said earlier, the authorized.net, the NMIs, things along those lines. And those are the things that you are going to be needing to get started in terms of where you are with what you have. So let's talk about the third of the things I said we were going to talk about, and those are the takeaways. So the first really important takeaway is know your numbers, and what works today may not work for you tomorrow. So test, and test again. And by the way, if I didn't say it, test again. You cannot reiterate that enough. It cannot be known what works today may not work tomorrow. Second thing is test your platform. Test your website for how things are loading in terms of on a desktop browser and a mobile browser. But again, not just looking at Chrome on your desktop or Firefox or Edge. You got to be looking at different browsers, different systems, so that you see how it all works, because different systems are going to render pages at different speeds. And the average time is 1.6 seconds. That if a page does not load, users are typically going to bounce off your site and you lost them. So you need to know what you're going to do. And you also need to know what changes you make to your site are going to be doing to your page speed loading times, because you don't want anyone leaving your site because it didn't load fast enough. Next thing you want to do is you want to be looking at your Google Analytics or whatever analytics platform you're using, because you want to see how people are engaging with your page. You want to know how people are looking at your business, so that you're going to be getting that information for what's out there. And anybody can say they're an expert in e-commerce, but the problem is anybody can be saying it. You need to know who you're dealing with and that they're a reputable entity. Right now with the pandemic, so many people have come out of the woodworks and said, yes, I am a e-commerce expert and here's my course for $2,000. I'm giving it away for the next few days at $10. Congratulations, now you're an expert too, but you're still in the same place where you were before. You don't know anything more because you didn't get anything you didn't already know on your own, or you couldn't just watch a simple YouTube video about the same information that you ended up paying them a couple of dollars just to give you this book, which is complete nonsense. So think about who you're actually dealing with and the things that are out there in terms of moving forward. And finally, and I don't mean to put this on a bad note, but always be prepared to pivot. We don't know what tomorrow brings, so be sure you can withstand any challenges. The governors in New York and New Jersey both said that in the event anything changes with the pandemic, the shutdowns that we sort of are out of may come back. So if you're not already selling online, you need to know how you can get online. You need to know how to make sure your business is in a position right now to succeed, and you need to be in a position to always be prepared to pivot. So what we covered today, how I went from making $8 an hour to helping business owners make millions in their businesses, now have my own financial freedom. We cover the 7 strategies you can use right now to grow your business using e-commerce, and we cover the takeaways, and we got that taken care of. So now my question is, how can I help you from here? And I'm going to open it up to questions. And if you've got any questions, just let me know. In the meantime, though, you've got my contact information right there on the screen, as well as on the handouts that I posted earlier in the chat session. So if there are any questions, I am happy to try and answer them for you.
Jennifer, I have a question.
Sure.
I have a mentor that's very much entrenched in clothing apparel for children on Amazon, and wants to move into retail, selling into retail.
Okay.
What kind of challenges, what kind of things should she be looking for? Things that could be roadblocks that she needs to overcome to do that.
So the first thing that she needs to pay attention is her inventory, because when she's selling into retail, she needs to have a ton of inventory that she can actually sell into the retail outlet. And very often when it does come down to the retail side of things, there are issues of clawbacks and buybacks, things along those lines, where the retail outlet, if they don't actually sell through your particular item that you sold, they're going to make you buy it back from them in terms of that inventory. So that's one of the issues that she is going to have to worry about. Another aspect that she wants to pay attention to is what is it going to do in terms of somebody that is going to be buying on Amazon that she's currently selling through that platform or her own site, and that retail channel in terms of where somebody is. Because if she cannibalizes her margin on her site in favor of the retail, then what she's doing is she is going to be losing a lot more program. Libby, I'm going to ask you just to help me understand what you're asking, but getting back, sorry, Robert, getting back to your question though, in terms of the cannibalization of the margins, you don't want that situation to happen, because that is definitely going to be a concern, because she has to sell wholesale to the retail channel. She can't sell it at the same price that she's selling it on her website and Amazon right now. So if she's got an item right now for $49 and she's selling it to retail at $20, she's obviously cannibalizing margins, and she doesn't want to have the same products in retail that she has available on her site or on Amazon and other solutions like that. Those are some of the ideas right off the top that she needs to be looking at. And I mean, there's a whole bunch more that we can get a lot more involved in, but in the interest of time, because I know that we've only got a few more moments on this program, I want to try and answer whatever questions are there.
Okay, thank you.
So, Libby, what do you mean selling service online, like 1 hour coaching? How different is it from selling products? Okay, you mean how to sell a service online versus a product. Okay, so at the end of the day, remember, it comes down to the benefits, not the features, right? It's still the same thing. If you're selling a service program instead of a product, it's still going to be, what am I getting out of it, right? So if you're selling coaching, like you're saying you're coaching, what is it that people are going to be getting? Remember, they're paying for the transformation, not the transportation. And what I mean by that is they don't care how they get there, they want to get there. So if you're offering how I can lose 20 pounds, and that's the coaching you're doing, they don't care how they're going to actually lose the 20 pounds. They want to lose the 20 pounds. They want to get that end goal, which is the problem they have that they don't want, the result they want, they don't have. If you can answer that in your marketing in terms of selling online, that is going to be what is going to come down to that program. And I do this because my coaching business, my BGSI coaching business, I am selling the coaching services, and that is what I'm doing. Did that answer your question, Libby?
Okay, so it sounds like he said yes. Okay, I see the thumbs up.
Yes.
Any last questions for Jennifer before I do want to, first of all, thank United Refuah Health Share for being a title sponsor, as I mentioned earlier. I want to thank Jennifer for an outstanding presentation and very, very relevant to things going on right now, and got a lot out of it myself. I hope everybody else did, and thank again for the great support. If it's okay, if you send me the presentation, if I could send it ahead to folks.
Sure.
So I'm going to put down my email on here. So that robert@tjnetwork.com. So anybody can send me an email and ask for the presentation, and I will certainly forward it ahead. And as well, you see the contact information for Jennifer. You can basically send her any questions as well that way. So appreciate your time and great insights and a fantastic presentation. It was a great job. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you everybody for coming to the program today. Again, if you have any other questions that were not answered or private questions that you want to know, feel free to reach out. You've got my information on the screen. So just let me know how I can help you. That is the name of the game. We're all in this together. And the more that I can help you all succeed, the better off we're all going to be. Thank you so much.
Thank you.